Longyearbyen Svalbard archipelago in Norway is 1,000 kilometers inside the Arctic Circle. It is the world's northernmost town.
Here I live with 114 dogs. Together we try to run, have fun, experience nature. On top of it, we take out tourists to show them this beautiful place and tell them why we have to be aware of taking care of nature. It's changing, and it's a more visible change than in the rest of the world, because the whole world is changing. We see more dramatic weather, more unpredictable weather. So for example, rain in the middle of winter. 2 years ago we had, in February, usually it's very cold in February, it rained here, you know, sitting up here in the Arctic in the middle of the winter, and it's just raining and raining and raining, and then in Rome there's full panic because there's snow. There's a lot of people discussing if climate change is human-made or not. And I go, that's not the question. It's never been the discussion. Climate change is a natural cause. The thing that we have done is that we've speeded up the process. We've destroyed the natural balance in everything, which means that at one point, nature is going to think, to heck with it, we get rid of humans. And that's not going to be bad at all, is it? Because it's our fault. She's 12. They are built in the way that you want to build things. It's a very Spartan way of doing things. So we're looking for healthy bodies, good personalities. Don't look for beauty. As you say, you know, not a single dog looks the same. And that's because we don't care about how they look. We care about how they work. So it's quality over quantity. Says the guy with 114 dogs. What's bad about the whole thing is that there's innocent animal lives, natural habitats that's getting destroyed because we messed up, and that's what I think is badly. I think nature is going to survive. The question is it with us or without us?
The first visible changes to my eyes were the melting of snow in the springtime, that it is getting earlier. One of the large changes was the fjords didn't freeze anymore in the wintertime, which started about 10 years ago. So the last 15 years we've seen a very much accelerated, very visible change in many aspects in our surroundings. The temperatures rise in the Arctic twice as fast as in the rest of the world, mainly because of what we call the albedo effect. When the white surface is replaced by dark surface, ice on the water is gone and we have open water, which is a dark surface. Snow on the ground melts earlier and we get a dark surface instead of a white surface. My main message when I meet people around the world is that this area is changing rapidly because of humankind's emissions of greenhouse gases. We have a responsibility to slow this change down as fast as possible because we are losing a natural landscape, we're losing an entire ecosystem, and there are also economic hardship for us as human beings here. There are large areas of the main town, Longyearbyen, where housing has to be abandoned because of the increased risks of avalanches.
One person has died and 9 others have been injured in an avalanche in the remote Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard in the Arctic.
I was on duty that night and suddenly we had this phone. Oh, something has happened. The houses are disappearing and falling down. And then we understood that it was an avalanche going to the town here. And we had to go out. And actually the whole town came with to help digging with hand. And we started to go into the first house where we knew there were people buried. The first house was evacuated, and then we went to, and next that we knew there were 2 small kids missing. And actually it took 2 hours to find them. And there were 2 small girls, and we did manage to save one of them. So we were so happy about saving one. But we are so sorry about the one we lost. So that's very sad for the whole town. We lost one more person, one of the teachers at the school. He was not alive when he was found.
People living in the areas, they have to expect to be evacuated. They are doing preparations every winter. They have a shovel with the door. They have an emergency bag packed. People inside the houses where they are sleeping, they move the children from one bedroom to another, so they are not that exposed in case of an avalanche should come. That's the area where the big avalanche in 2015 came down, and it removed the 11 houses that was in this area where you can see the snowmobiles parked over there, and moved them almost down to the house that still are there. And the avalanche in 2017 came down on the right side. You can see the slope marking the mountain here, and hit the house that was standing just right here, where the snowmobiles now are parked. We don't want it to be like this. People shouldn't have it like that. You shouldn't be prepared to evacuate several times during the winter time. It shouldn't be like that. That's why we know we're doing a big job to secure the area. As you can see behind us here, they will put up fences. At least that's the plan, like we have behind me here, to secure the rest of the mountainside here. And we have to build up new houses in secure areas, and that's a big work that's going on actually right now. So the meaning is that we shouldn't have this evacuation situation going on for a long time.
Yeah, so I'm on the bridge, I'm just looking around. I see lots of reindeer, but if you could just give me another description, more precise, because I'm in place.
One in the green part higher up.
The polar bear here is seeing a changing habitat. They're dependent on seals on the ice, and the ringed seal, which is their main food, is moving out because the ice is gone here. We see polar bears less afraid of humans because they're not hunted, so the confrontations, the meetings are more frequent than they used to be. We also see polar bears that get stuck on land and are not able to follow the ice edge.
Flyktet, som vi ser, gjennom et vindu da
They at first are done walking around here on land looking for eggs from birds and whatever.
Nature is angry, and we fool ourselves if we think we can fool nature. Because nature always strikes back. And around the world, nature is striking back with fury. Consider the last few months. July, the hottest months ever. June through August, the hottest summer in the Northern Hemisphere ever.
This is what we can expect in the future. So it was the first sense, perhaps, of more dramatic climate impacts. So whereas here in Sweden we have been quite successful at reducing emissions at home, within Sweden's borders, our consumption causes emissions elsewhere. So for example, our import of electronic products causes emissions in China. So Sweden's climate footprint is actually among the highest in the world. So this is something we need to consider when we try and show climate leadership.
What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now! Climate justice! Climate justice! I say climate, you say justice! Climate justice!
They're protesting children and people all over the world, and it's such a huge global climate strike, and this is why it's so important that there's a climate strike here in Longyearbyen as well, that we just need changes for the future of our planet and the future of our future actually.
Justice! Justice! Our future! Our future! What do we want? Climate justice! When do we want it? Now!
They are all born inside with me. So their first few weeks of life they spend with me. Yes. Yeah. Because I have to teach them that, you know, since I'm the alpha, I have to be the one who watches over them. Everyone thinks that the alpha is supposed to be like the big, brutal, bossy one. But it's not. It's the one who keeps everyone safe and watches over them and makes sure they're happy. And yes, it's a lot of love. Ash, not that kind of love. No place in the whole world can call themselves green. Not a single place. It doesn't matter if you're New York City or if you're Longyearbyen or if you're Oslo or whatever. We're not green. And you know, yes, we are a victim as well as we are the criminal. Everyone is doing something wrong. It's not one person or one country, or it's everyone. You have to stop seeing the climate change as something local. It's global. And we're trying to save each other. It's not Norway against the rest of the world or Indonesia against the rest of the world. It's all of us in it together. Because, you know, if Indonesia suddenly floods, you're going to have a lot of people who has to move. And where are they going to move? They have to come north. So, you know, the problem is going to end up in your doorstep, whatever you do. And it's also about just being a good neighbor. Take care of each other and make sure that the country next to you also has a good future.
In July 2021, UN Chief Antonio Guterres said the goal of achieving carbon neutrality before 2050 was, quote, ambitious yet achievable, but the world is still way off track. He said all the G20 countries would need to agree on a path forward, as billions of people are already facing the realities of climate change.